the last video, you must remember something like this that we did. Today, or in this video, we would like to do a different operation, the revolved operation. You may be wondering what is the revolved operation. So very quickly, we go to something that you already know how to do so well, creating sketches. We create a sketch, XZ plane. What I want to create is a sketch of a rectangle. So I use the polyline tool and I click somewhere here to the origin, to this line here, and then back to the top. So then I dimension my triangle. Let's make this 50 and let us make this 20. That's beautiful, isn't it? So let me close the sketch. You may be expecting me to do an extrude or a cut. In fact, I can't do a cut here because I don't have any solid feature yet. But in this video, I want to do a revolved operation. What does a revolved operation do? A revolved operation simply spins a sketch around a given line or a given axis. So for instance, if I want to turn this sketch into a physical object or into a solid object using the revolved operation, remember, anytime you want to do anything here, firstly click the sketch or the lines or the feature that you want to change. I click on sketch and then I click on the revolved tool. That is it there. You can see that it automatically revolves it around the vertical sketch axis as given here. I can change that. I can click on this and then say I want to select my own reference. Then I can select the reference that I want. So let's say I want to actually reference it across the x-axis. So I want to spin this object around the x-axis. So I click on the x-axis and you see how it spins it around the x-axis. So that forms a cone basically. Now, what if I don't want to spin it all the way through? Like this goes the entire length. What if I want to spin it by just 45 degrees, for instance? I can change that here under angle. So if I come to angle and I change that to 45 and I click out, so you can see that it will only spin it by 45 degrees. Let me change it to 270. I think that looks more beautiful personally. Ooh, see how it looks like. So you can see this shows you that it is spinning it around this x-axis. Let me change the axis that I'm spinning it around. So let me spin it around this blue axis instead. That's the z-axis. So you can see that it spins it around that axis. So that's a very beautiful example of the revolved operation. Let me do another example. Ctrl N for a new file. So let me create a sketch. By now, again, you are an expert at creating sketches. And this sketch is going to be interesting because I'm going to use a polyline tool. So I click on polyline over here and I click on here, just click this, and I'm going to click something like this. I'm making sure that it's straight so that I can have that horizontal constraint. And then I'm going to do something like this. I don't really mind what angle it is right now. I'm going to adjust all of that and make sure that it's straight. It's not straight, so I'm going to need to add a constraint to that. Make sure that this line is straight and coincident with the axis. Yes, and then finally I bring it back to the starting point here. And then I press escape. I press escape to remove that tool. Remember, this my line is not straight, so first thing I want to fix that. So I click on the line and then I go to horizontal constraints. Then I want this line and this line to be on the same point. But if I click on this line and I click on the line, the other line, like I select both of them, and I click horizontal constraints, it's going to give me errors. So the best way I found to do that is select a point on both lines and then do the horizontal constraint. So it will make sure that these two lines are horizontal. Now let me dimension. I'm just going to give it random dimensions. Let's make this 60 let's make the distance from here to here, let's make it 15. Then let's make the distance here. Before we make the distance here, or before we set the distance here, I'm going to press escape. Let's first make this line equal to this line, this other line here. Come in. Yes, so let's first make this line here equal to this other line that is here. So how do we do that? I select this line, then I select this line as well, like control select, selecting both of them, and then I press the equal constraint here. So what that means is that whatever the length of this line is, that's what the length of this line too will be, and vice versa. So then I go to the dimension tool and I'm going to dimension this. So let me make it 5 millimeters, and that gives me a good 5 millimeters. What is left for me to dimension, I wonder? I've not yet dimensioned this, so let's make this 20. And you will notice that there's an issue with this line, like it's not symmetrical. I want this point to be symmetrical with, like, I want it to be in the middle of these two lines. So how do I do that? There are quite a few ways that we can do that. Let me try something. Let me create a point at the center of this line so you can see that symmetry constraint. Is it possible for me to select two lines and a point and make them symmetrical? No, it is impossible. So what I do simply is I would create a line. I would draw another line, but make it a construction line now. Like I said, there are different ways to do things in FreeCAD. So I'm going to create a line. All of this I'm just sketching. I've not yet done anything, any feature. So I'm going to create a line. Make sure that that line is straight and that it touches this other line here. You can see it shows me both the symmetry constraint and the vertical constraint. So if I click it, even though it looks slant, if I click it, it will reconfigure the other line here to meet those constraints. So I have those constraints already, and all I'll just do is to dimension this line now, this last line here. So I go to my dimension tool and I click on the line, and let's give it a distance of 5 millimeters. So we have this beautiful shape here now, which is fully constrained. I hope that you are following me, and I'm going to press escape to escape that dimension tool, and I'm going to close the sketch. So as I've closed the sketch, I would like to not extrude, I would like to revolve this shape around this line here. So I'm just going to simply first click my sketch and then click on revolve. There's a problem. It says revolution wire is not closed, and I intentionally did that to show you something. So if I press cancel, you would notice that they are like, this is not a continuous portion. If I put it like that, it's not a continuous portion in the sense that this line divides this into two. So the computer is not sure what you want to do because it's not a continuous object. To resolve that, I will simply come into my sketch and make this line, because I really wanted it to be a construction line anyway. I'll make this line a construction line. So how do I do that? I'll click it and then come to this construction geometry here and click that. So you see that it becomes broken lines, and then I'll click on close, so it does not appear in my view here. And after that, I'll click on this revolved. It's revolving it around the blue axis, but that's not what I want. So I'm going to click on this axis, click on select reference. I want to revolve it around this x axis, and I'm going to click this. So you see that is the revolution of basically like a like a pulley system. So you can see that, and this is how you can create a lot of interesting objects in FreeCAD. I'm going to press OK, and finally I'm going to just show you the object. So that is how you use the revolved operation. Thank you for watching the video. In the next video, we are probably going to be doing a little bit more on the revolved operation, and then we'll touch briefly on the loft operation. I'm trying to keep this tutorial series as short as possible so that it can be easy to complete, and after completing it you should be able to have some understanding of how to use the software. Hopefully in the future I'll create another series that will cover more advanced concepts, but to this series I really want things to be understandable and to just give a basic understanding of how everything works. Please remember to subscribe to the channel, it helps us, and also give us a like, that helps us as well. Click on the subscribe button, click on the like button. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.